Hello. Woo! Oh my goodness, I am so inspired to see you here today. Wow, look at this. So I'm Deanna, and I've met many of you, but I feel so honored and grateful to be able to welcome you here today. And today we have a great evening in store for you. We have Howard Schultz here, and so I want to kick us off with a coffee tasting, and we are going to start out with a cup of Pike Place. So grab your cups if you have them. So I've been thinking a lot about this coffee for the last couple weeks, actually. And when I think about this coffee, I just think, wow, what an incredible cup of coffee that we get to start every single day with. And to the naked eye, it might just look like a cup of coffee, a really good cup of coffee. But if you look a little deeper, it's actually just a really incredible part of our culture that gets to spread all over the world to partners here and everywhere. And it's our culture that we're passing from person to person. And so sometimes it might be the first smile that a customer gets in the morning. And we maybe don't necessarily think of it that way, right? It's done with care and compassion. Our baristas prepare this amazing cup of coffee, and they pass it over the counter. And really what they're passing is joy and love and compassion. And that's what this coffee means to me. And so I'm really excited to be able to kick off tonight with this incredible cup of coffee. So cheers. That was a really good slurp. Awesome. Let's see if we can go a little louder. Let's try it again. Awesome. That's good. That's good. So I thought I would also start off with telling you a little bit about me and my journey and why I love being a partner. So I'm a 22-year partner. I've shared that with many of you. Thank you. I started here when I was 19 years old, and I've really grown up here. And so I've spent the last 22 plus years here. And I've had a lot of really big milestones here, really, really incredible moments that I'm super proud to share with you tonight. And so when I started out, I remember, like so many people, I started out as a barista, and I had worked fast food prior to coming to Starbucks. And at the time, the culture there was really kind of divisive. And I liked my coworkers, but I just knew it wasn't the place for me. And I remember going to Starbucks every single day before I went to work. And I was a Frappuccino drinker back then. So I'd start my day off with a Frappuccino. And the partners there were so kind and amazing to me. And I thought, this feels like the kind of place that I belong at. And so, like many of us, I started working at Starbucks, and I was just really excited as a very tall person to have a really long apron at a very cool company. But pretty quickly I fell in love, and I fell in love with that green apron in a way that, obviously still impacts me to this day. And so I went from what I thought was going to be a job in tech to going, this is it. This is my home. This is my home. And so I had many great opportunities here. And while getting to serve this amazing cup of coffee to our customers every single day, it really became clear to me almost immediately that it's really about the people that share that moment together. And so I had many moments. I had many moments that actually Howard doesn't even know that he was involved in, right? So I got my first new car, where the windows rolled up and rolled down, actually on command, not on their own terms, with Beanstalk that I earned as a barista and shift supervisor. I remember somebody sitting me down and going, let me show you your Fidelity account. And I thought I was a millionaire, and I got my first car, and that was a really incredible moment for me. And later on, I got my college degree. And I remember actually, Howard, when you announced it and there was an event, and it was a really busy time at work, and I closed my laptop and I said, oh my gosh, the universe has just told me it's time. And so I got my degree through Starbucks with ASU. And I actually went to Arizona and I walked because it was that special for me. And so over the years, I've had many things that have occurred as a result of my time here with Starbucks. And it's been so inspirational and so incredible, and it's taken me all over the country, including right here to Buffalo. And so with that, I am so proud to be able to share this moment with all of you and share this incredible cup of coffee, which I see as so much more than a cup of coffee, but instead us sharing our culture together, built with our partners in mind. And I just want to thank you all for being here. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Howard to welcome you up here to, it is such an honor to be able to hear you speak tonight. So welcome, Howard Schultz.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Deanna, that was really well done. And it's not easy to get up here and share those stories. You did it beautifully. Deanna, thank you. Well, let me thank you all for giving up your early Saturday night and joining us here tonight. I really appreciate that. I also want to acknowledge this has been a very tough time in the country over the last 18 or so months, and a tough time, I'm sure, for you and your family. And I hope that your family is healthy and that you've navigated through a very, very difficult time, not only at Starbucks, but obviously in your home. All of us have gone through so much in trying to understand what COVID is about, how it affects all of us, whether we get vaccinated or not. It's very confusing, very difficult, and as a company, we've tried our best to ensure the fact that our customers and you are as healthy and safe as possible. It was about a month and a half ago that I was here meeting with a group of managers. And in that meeting, I heard some things that I had never heard before about the condition of some of the stores that some of you were working in. And I made a promise to the managers that all of that would be addressed and fixed as soon as possible, and that I would come back to meet with them and a larger group. And this is, I think, a realization of that commitment that I made about a month and a half ago. I've learned many things about what has happened in Buffalo these last few months. And I wanted to come here myself and not be on a big stage, but be as close to you as possible and have an intimate conversation. I don't want to give a speech. I don't have any notes. I just want to speak from my heart about what I believe this company is about and what we've tried to do over these many years in building a different kind of company. I've also learned that for many of you, your time with Starbucks is almost less than 2 years. And so I think it's really incumbent upon me to spend some time sharing with you and, in a sense, educating you where this all has come from in terms of the Starbucks story, our heritage, our tradition. I should also say that we're not a perfect company. We're not perfect people. I'm not a perfect person. Mistakes are made, we learn from them, and we try and fix them. The story of Starbucks and everything we've tried to do, in a very vulnerable way, I have to share with you my own origin story, my own personal story. Because much of the values, the guiding principles, and really the culture of the company comes out of what I experienced as a young boy. I grew up in public housing in Brooklyn, New York, better known as the projects, for low-income, disadvantaged families. The rent when I was growing up was $96 a month, and there were many months that my parents and my father could not make the rent. When I was 7 years old, my father had been working a series of really tough blue-collar jobs. He came back from World War II, suffering from dengue fever and malaria, and never quite made the transition as a veteran into the workforce. He was a high school dropout, and as a result of that, he didn't get much respect and much dignity in the workplace. And he went from job to job. He also became very bitter and angry, and for most of his life felt like a victim. Well, when I was 7 years old, he had one of the worst jobs he had ever had. He was a truck driver picking up and delivering cloth diapers before the invention of Pampers. And in March of 1960, that goes way back, I'm really aging myself, he slipped on a sheet of ice making a delivery. And he broke his hip and his ankle, and he came home in a full cast. I came home from school at the age of 7. He was sprawled out on the couch. And for the next 6 months, there was no health insurance. There was nothing that gave him any ability to earn money. And what happened was that the company he was working for fired him and dismissed him as a result of the accident. No workers' compensation, no disability. And I experienced at the age of 7 the imprinting, the shame, the vulnerability, the embarrassment of a family that was really destitute. So much so that many charitable philanthropic organizations over the course of a year were delivering food to our small 2-bedroom apartment in the projects. I had incredible shame about it. And here I am today, I'm 68 years old, and I can promise you, as I've told my kids many times, that when I speak about these kinds of experiences, I can feel in my body the level of shame and scars that I felt as I went out into the streets as a 7-year-old kid, knowing what was happening in my apartment. Now, I tell that story because it is deeply threaded into every aspect of the foundational values of Starbucks. Let me explain. Now, I didn't go to any Ivy League school. I do not have a business degree. I went to a state school in Michigan. And when I got out of college, I went to work for Xerox, but I had bigger dreams for myself. And my mother always believed that regardless of the situation we were in, that your station in life in America does not define your future. And so I was ambitious. I was very entrepreneurial. Now, I never imagined, never dreamed that I would one day be in a position to build a global enterprise. But I knew in my heart I wanted to do something, I wanted to start something. And when I knew I wanted to start something, I always knew that if I got the opportunity, I was going to build the kind of company that my father never got a chance to work for. A company that was steeped in respect and dignity for everyone who worked in the company, regardless of whether or not they were educated, whether or not they were rich, poor, good school, bad school, male, female, gay, trans, it didn't matter. I wanted everyone to have an ability in the company to feel as if they had a sense of belonging, and the currency of trust inside the company was that we were here for one another. So listen to this. Starbucks went public in 1992 with 125 stores. Now, 2 years before we went public, 2 full years, I said to myself and our colleagues, this is the moment where I'm going to do something for my dad, who passed away in 1987. And so 2 years before the 1992 IPO, Starbucks became the first company in America to provide comprehensive health insurance for every single employee, including part-time people. A benefit my father did not have. Now, who forced us to do that? Who pushed us to do it? No one. We did it because we thought it was the right thing. We did it because we believed 25 years before the Affordable Care Act and President Obama doing a great thing for the country, that we as a company believed we should do this for our people. And it was expensive. A year after that, in 1991, a year before the IPO, I was sitting in the roasting facility, our first one, with the people who roast the coffee. You know, when I started at Starbucks, I was a coffee roaster. I know how hard that job is and how tough it is. And I sat with the coffee roasters and I talked to them about we are going to go public one day. And it hit me like a brick. We can't go public and not create an environment where there's shared success. So a full year before the IPO, we did the second thing that no other company in history had ever done before. We created equity in the form of stock options, Bean stock, for every single employee, so that the success of the company in 1992 and beyond, like Deanna's story, that everyone would have an opportunity to share in the success of the company. Now, health insurance and Bean stock became the hallmark of the foundational benefits that began to build a different kind of company. And again, those two benefits were damn hard to create. In fact, we had to get a special disposition from the SEC in 1992 because by giving equity and Bean stock to every person, we had violated a law of only 500 people. And so we had to go through a lot of process. And when Bean stock was launched, that's when the word partner was created, because everyone in the company became a partner. Now, I can stand here all night and count hundreds and thousands of stories of people in the company who have benefited from health insurance and from Bean stock as a result of those benefits. Now, I want to go back to 1987. In 1987, we had 11 stores and 100 employees. We were not yet partners. But we had a dream to build a different kind of company, even then. And I wrote it down. I have it in writing in 87. And it simply said, we're going to create a company that is going to achieve the fragile balance between profit and conscience, between profit and benevolence, between shareholder value and partner value. I even created an inverted pyramid that is still in the offices of Starbucks today. An inverted pyramid. At the top of the pyramid were partners. In the middle were customers. And at the bottom was shareholders. And I stood in front of all of Wall Street in 1992 when we went public, and I said the following. I believed in 1992 that we would build a great, enduring company. Did I ever imagine we'd have 35,000 stores and 80 markets across the world and 400,000 people working for the company? I didn't. But I did believe that if we created the kind of company in which managers and leaders exceeded the expectations of our people, then they in turn would exceed the expectations of our customers. And that became the thread. Now, after health insurance and after Beanstalk, we asked ourselves, what's next? What else can we do? And so we created a cup fund, an emergency cup fund, managed by partners, in which we would have the opportunity for $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever the emergency was, within 24 or 48 hours, managed by partners to be dispersed for emergencies. I can't tell you how many people throughout Starbucks in all of these years have needed an emergency, and it's not a loan. It's a gift. In the last few years, it became obvious to me that the access to opportunity, the issues around equity, the issues around equality, the issues around neighborhoods around the country that are disadvantaged and are being left, the crisis of capitalism, that we had to try and do something for our people that perhaps they couldn't do on their own. And that became the College Achievement Plan. Again, the first company in America to offer free college tuition for every single employee who wants it. Free. Now, just a rhetorical question. Healthcare, Beanstalk, the Cup Fund, college achievement. Who forced us to do it? Who pushed us to do it? No one. Why did we do it? Because I wanted to do something that was so significantly different than the abuse that my father had in being the kind of person that was not respected and dignified and did not have any value. My father never owned a house. He had 20 credit cards his whole life, rolling one after another. He had no equity. So how can we build a company that is going to be so successful and only a few are going to participate? We have to build a company in which everyone is going to participate. Now, I said I have no notes. I only have my heart. I'm here for one reason. I love this company. I feel a huge, deep responsibility to the partners and their families, not only here, but around the world. And there's an arc to the story. It starts with who we have been, who we are, and where we are going. And it's about you. And it's about the Green Apron. And whether you've been with the company 6 months, a year, 2 years, 22 years, Starbucks has built something very, very unique and special. 20 years ago, I was pushed and pressured to franchise the system of Starbucks in America. Because if you franchise the system, you don't have to spend any of the company's money to build the stores. The franchisees do it. And some really smart MBA guy created an economic model that was bulletproof on paper. It was bulletproof because it said if Starbucks would franchise its system, it is going to make a ton of more money. And the stock price is going to go crazy. And he was right. He was right. But the numbers lied. Because it would have fractured, destroyed everything about the culture and values and guiding principles of the company, because we would not be together. There'd be no sense of belonging. There'd be no purpose. And every company, regardless of the industry of the product, must have a core purpose and reason for being. What is our core purpose and reason for being? It goes back to the picture of that store, the Pike Place store, the first store. When you walk through the threshold of that store, it is welcoming. It's a sense of community. It's a deep sense of humanity over a cup of coffee. Now, we are living at a time right now where the economists are suggesting that the greatest threat to a post-pandemic world in America is not inflation, it's not unemployment, it's mental health. It's isolation. It's loneliness. So what did we do about that? I said, when I read the article and I called The Economist, I started speaking to him. I felt like I can't believe that no one in the country is really talking about what this is going to mean and what people have been suffering from. So what did we do? We did what we always do. We went out and we found the best company in America to provide mental health services for our people. And that's a company called Lyra Health. For free. It's expensive. We're doing it. Why are we doing it? Who told us to do it? Who pushed us to do it? No one. Lyra Health is a benefit that few companies in America have. We've created it for everyone. Because mental health is a serious, serious issue for you and your families, for us all. And not everyone can afford to go to a therapist. Not everyone wants to. But in the privacy of your home, you can have the kind of mental health services and help that very few companies in America have. And it's threaded deeply into the values of the company. And if someone came to me and said, do you know how expensive this is going to be? Do you know how dilutive it's going to be to shareholders? My response is always the same as it was for healthcare, for Beanstalk, for college achievement. My faith and belief in the partners of Starbucks is if we exceed their expectations, they will exceed ours. That's who we have been. Now, today, Starbucks, like every other company in the world, is facing significant challenges that are not in any textbook. You can't go to school and figure out how to manage through a pandemic. We've done our very, very best. We're not perfect. We've made mistakes. But our heart, our conscience, our values, our guiding principles, going back to building a different kind of company, balancing profitability with our commitment to our people, that is rock solid. Rock solid. Never question it. And we, as a company, have to make choices all the time of balancing all of the issues. But when I think about who we have been, I'm so proud of not what I've said about the benefits. I'm proud of the people who wear the green apron. And the 5+ million people who came before you who have worn the green apron. 5 million people. 5 million people and their families have benefited from working for this company. And the economic value that we have created in every neighborhood in which we're located. And the sense of community, the sense of humanity. And when we're at our best, what company is going to be a better remedy for the isolation and loneliness that people are going to be searching to get out of, longing for a sense of human connection, than our stores? If you pick up a business book, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, all the schools I could have never gotten into, you're not going to find these words in any of those books. You're not going to find love. You're not going to find humanity. You're not going to find vulnerability. You're not going to find sensibility. You're not going to find human connection. Those are the characteristics and the virtues that built the foundation of the company. I need to go back to another origin story of my childhood to bring this all together, the tapestry of what we've done and why. So a year before my father had the accident, my mother took me every Wednesday afternoon to a library. But where I grew up in Brooklyn, in the projects, we didn't have a library. We had a bookmobile. You probably said, what is that? A bookmobile. A truck that came to the neighborhoods where the poor people lived, where there was no library, and you'd go into the truck, and my mother and I would pick out the books for the week, and you have to return it the next Wednesday. And she'd pick me up from school, and we'd go there. It was one Wednesday afternoon. I think we're going to the bookmobile. We get on a bus. At that time of my life, I can never remember before going on a bus. I was transformed. Like, what is this, and where are we going? And she doesn't tell me. We end up walking a couple of miles after the bus ride to a massive rally of thousands of people in Brooklyn, New York. And I could only hear a voice. I was too small to see over the crowd, and we were too far back. But I was looking at my mother's face. And we were poor, downridden, not a lot of hope, no opportunity. She took me to this rally to hear this senator from Boston who was running for president, President Kennedy. And I watched her face light up when he said these words: your station in life in America does not and should not be defined by where you live or where you come from or the color of your skin or your sexuality. That the American dream is for you. And I watched my mother, tears coming down her eyes. She took me to hear the next president of the United States. And she needed to hear it herself. It was a galvanizing moment for my mother. And even though I was 6, I'm telling you, it just imprinted me. Now, I'm not saying in any way or comparing myself to that moment, but I am saying it influenced me. Just like my father on the couch for 6 months with no money, no resources, and people bringing food to our house. I know what it meant to walk in the shoes because I was in those shoes. This poor kid from Brooklyn. The shame, the vulnerability, the scars. Hiding in the shadows of being poor. Starbucks has been built to overcome that as best we can. We can't solve every problem, but what we can do is build a different kind of company. And we have. And once again, so vitally important you hear this. No person, no organization, no pressure from anyone outside asked us, pressured us, maneuvered us, threatened us to do anything other than what we felt in our heart and our conscience we needed to do and should do for the people who wear the green apron, the people who are roasting the coffee. And that's what we've done. So where are we going? Now, you would think with 35,000 stores and 100 million customers a week coming through our stores and 400,000 people working for Starbucks, we're done. Hell no. Done? Our best days are ahead of us. We have the 5th most admired, respected brand in America for 7 years running. How did we get there? Not by marketing. We're not a marketing company. We got there through the human experience. We got there because people come in our stores recognizing the value of the experience that you provide. And the secret is this experience, the Starbucks experience, the sense of community, the sense of humanity, the love, the responsibility, all of the character and virtues that built this company will never be as meaningful as they are going to be in calendar 22 and beyond, and not only in America, but around the world. Because we have the antidote. We're going to bring people together. People are longing. And what are we going to do when we get there? We're going to continue to do what we've always done. Make the right decisions for everyone. And honor that pyramid, which is real. And honor the people who came before you. And build the kind of company that when you go home at night with your parents, your husband, your wife, your partner, your children, you can honestly say, I work for a company I'm proud to work for. Now, for the last 40 years, I have led a management leadership team meeting every Monday afternoon at Starbucks. And in that same room, once a quarter, I have led a board of directors who have a fiduciary responsibility for the company. And for 40 years, this is truth, 40 years, there's 2 empty chairs in that room. 2 empty chairs. And everyone has known that those 2 empty chairs is not some metaphor, it's real. Because I want every single decision that we make as a company with our leadership team and the board to answer the question in the affirmative that those 2 empty chairs represent a customer and a partner. And the question that must be answered in the affirmative is, will this decision make our customers and our partners proud? And if the answer is no, I promise you, that decision's not being made. And if it's gray, we're going to debate it. We're going to wrestle it to the ground until we get it right. And if we don't, it's the wrong thing to do. Like franchising. Remember that story? Billions of dollars of more money for Starbucks. But it would have destroyed the company. It would have destroyed the culture and values. Now, the word culture has been... Everyone in the world uses the word culture in their company. Let's break it down. What is culture? Culture is you. You're the culture. Everything that happens in your store, in your district, in the region, is a set of behaviors, individually and collective behaviors. That's the culture of the company. And when we act poorly, it's a shadow, it's a blemish on the culture of the company. But after 50 years, like not 1 year or 5 years or 10 years, but 50 years, we have a history, we have a heritage, we have traditions. And that heritage and tradition is steeped in a level of behavior that has created the kind of culture that respects and dignifies all people in the company, going back to my dad. Do we always get it right? We don't. We're human. We make a mistake, we try to fix it, we try to learn from it, and we move through it. But the future of the company, we're just getting started. I was in the office yesterday and I spent 5 full hours on the future innovation of the company. I was blown away. The beverage innovation, the product, the packaging, a completely new cold beverage station to make life easier since 50-60% of all our customers are into cold. Well, we got to get better at delivering it. So we're investing ahead of the curve to ensure the fact that we get this right. But the innovation blew me away. The American dream, what does it mean? Is it still alive? Given the backdrop of our politics, some of the hatred on social media that exists, the loss of faith and confidence in what the country stands for, the lack of civility among our politicians in Washington. I have great faith in the American people. We've been through worse as a country. We are going to navigate through this. We're going to come out of the other side. And I can promise you that Starbucks is going to be one of the companies that's going to be the kind of company that people point to and said, they got it right. They got it right. Now you can walk out of here today and say, great talk, a lot of passion. I didn't fly here for a great talk and some words that don't mean anything. I came here because of my love of the company and my deep responsibility to the partners and their families. And I came here to tell you our story of where it came from, the projects of Brooklyn, of the things we've done because we felt it was the right thing to do. No one forced us to do it. Many years ago, I took a trip to Israel, and I met this very wise, pious, religious man who taught me many lessons, not about religion, but about life, about morality, about honor. And I'm going to tell you 2 stories, 2 experiences I had with him. And I hope it resonates with you. I'm Jewish, but this isn't about being Jewish. Not at all. It's about humanity. The first story is, he says to me that when people in Germany and in Poland were sent to the concentration camps, they were thrown into rail cars, and sometimes the journey was 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, no light, no water, no food. And when they arrived at the camps, the rail cars were slammed open, And you can hear that metal door just right against the cold weather. Men were separated from women, and women were separated from children. And one person for every 6 was given a blanket. One blanket for every 6 people. And the person who got the blanket had to decide what to do with this blanket that I have for myself. And not everyone, but most people shared their blanket with 5 other people. And the rabbi says to me, take your blanket and go share it with 5 other people. And so much of that story is threaded into what we have tried to do at Starbucks, is share our blanket. Second story. I have the extraordinary good fortune of going to the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem with the rabbi. Now, this rabbi is not just some rabbi. He's like a cardinal in the Vatican. He's a big deal. And we went to the Wailing Wall together. Now, the Wailing Wall, of all the places in the world, is probably one of the most religious, unique, such an extraordinary place where people come from all over the world to put their hands on the wall and get as close to God as they believe they can. And it's touching the wall that gives them this feeling. And I'm walking with the rabbi, 15 yards, 10 yards, and we get to 5 yards to the wall. And remember who he is. He's like a cardinal in the Vatican. He stops me 5 yards out. And he says, I can't go any further than this. I said, Rabbi, what do you mean you can't go any further than this? Why? And he says to me words which I will never forget in my entire life. I've never touched the wall myself. I'm not worthy. And with that, he takes his hand, he pushes me to the wall. And he says, say a prayer for me. This most pious, religious man who has dedicated his life to God didn't think he was worthy. What's the lesson? The lesson is humility, respect. Now, I don't expect you in 1 hour, if you've come in here with a degree of cynicism or lack of trust, to walk out of here and saying, everything he told me I now believe. But I will ask you to think about what I've said, to process it, and understand that these words I'm sharing with you are deeply personal. This company is representative of so much more than coffee. It's so much more. It is truly about humanity. It's about community. And it is about love when we get it right. And everything we've done since 1971 has been to try and do everything we can to exceed the expectations of the people wearing the green apron. I know in my heart who we are, what we stand for, what we believe in. And I know in my heart what the future holds for the company. And I know in my heart what we hope for you and your families. And in so many ways, for a kid from Brooklyn, from the projects, I've been blessed. My dreams have come true. And my only hope, my sincere hope, for all of you, is that your dreams will come true as well. But no one can do it alone. No one. We have to do it together. And in many ways, that's what the country needs, a sense of unity, a sense of purpose. And I go back to what our core purpose and reason for being is. To build the kind of company that creates the fragile balance between profit and doing the right thing. And I hope what you've heard is a historical perspective of the company over a 50-year period doing the right thing. Thank you very much.
My name is Gianna Reed.
Thank you.
I am an organizing member of Starbucks Workers United. You know how much this means to me, and you know how much I love my partners. And I resonate so much with Howard and what he said, because he wants what's best for this company, and he knows where the future is going for our company. And the strength we have is our strength with each other. How many of us right now, how many of us are wearing Workers United shirts right now? How many of us are wearing Workers United shirts right now? I do not want to hear it. Please let partners speak. Please let partners speak. That's fine. That is fine.
Are you guys
But that's
transparent with your like MO here? Are you transparent? Because I saw things on Facebook that didn't seem transparent. I'm sorry, and I don't. We just came back.
Yeah,
to
you're causing a
Starbucks,
hostile
and I think
environment.
this whole
This is
charade
unacceptable.
so insane for you to come
This
up
is
so
a hostile
boldly
environment.
And when this is for all of us, and we don't all agree with you, and you come
Don't bring
election principles that has not been signed yet. And it's
answer
not
the
been
question.
Yeah, don't make it hostile.
that they respect our right
You're making
to
it
organize. They
hostile. This
respect
is
our
ridiculous.
right to equal time. And I have not had equal time. So Howard Schultz, please, if you care about your partners in Buffalo, please sign the fair election principles. Please, I have a
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not on a hostility. Don't do it.
in your cause, but while he spoke, one of you was on your cell phone, one of you was kicking your leg the whole time. I mean, it's just like it has to be reciprocal.
Thank you, Gianna. Partners voicing concerns to other partners. Thank you, Gianna.
Well-
Thank you.
Okay, all right. I think Howard has left, but I wanted to thank Howard for sharing his stories and his words. I've watched a lot of the videos. I think we all have watched Howard speak. I haven't heard him speak to this level personally live, and every time I hear him speak, and I learn something. I learn something about myself, and it's not about what Howard has built. This is more about why. And for me, listening to him share his stories about the heart, the love, the humanity, the human connection, that's what this is about. And
I know we haven't gotten it right. I know that. And we have work to do. And you all have been working really, really hard. And you've been working alongside of us. And I am so incredibly grateful for every single partner here. And one thing that Howard shared is, who we are, right, and where we've come from does not define where we're going. And I look around the room at every single partner here. And I know from the conversations I've had with many of you in the stores how much you care and you respect each other as partners and your customers and the communities in which we serve. I know that. I've seen it. I felt it. And I know that's real. I know that is real. And where we've been does not define where we're going. And I am so optimistic. I am so hopeful about what we can build together. And we really, really are. We are really building something incredibly special with love, with humanity, with connection for each other. And I cannot think of a better group of partners to do that with. I really have every confidence in the world of the partners I'm looking at here. I really, really believe we can create this, and it's going to be something really special. You deserve it. And again, we haven't gotten it right. But we're going to put everything we have to get this right for you and for each other. And I'm really proud to be your partner. I truly am. And I'm glad we had the chance together to learn, celebrate coffee, hear from our founder, learn about what we have to offer, and just celebrate and care for each other. So partners, thank you for making the time tonight to spend with us. And I look forward to hearing your insights and your learnings when I'm out in stores. So partners, thank you. I'm incredibly grateful for you. Have a good rest of your evening.